RNIB, Opening Up Creative Culture. An Introduction to Audio Description. Louise Fryer.
The purpose of audio description is to make accessible to blind and partially sighted visitors everything that's available to the sighted visitor. And it means you've got a lot of questions to answer. How many words can you use? What kind of words can you use? How do you piece them together? How do you structure the description? How do blind people receive that information? Do they receive it in the same way as a sighted person might receive it? And you also have a range of people with a very large number of different sight conditions. So it's not a single homogeneous audience. You've got a great diversity of people, as you would have with any number of visitors. They all have their own history, their own interests, their own background and education. And on top of that, they may have a sight problem too. So description isn't straightforward, but it's challenging and interesting. And it's certainly something that I've been grappling with for the last 20 years.
Gavin Griffiths.
Well, as to what I can see, I can't see at all. I've been blind since I was 1.5, 2, and therefore colours really don't mean anything to me apart from the word themselves. Well, for myself, going to see an art gallery or going to a museum is just as important as it would be to anybody else. Just because you can't see something doesn't mean to say it doesn't interest you. I mean, that's just to me, that's actually a crazy notion, because it's all about how it makes you feel. Because when you go into somewhere like that and you're looking at a picture, then it's about what you see and how that makes you feel and how it makes you think. Say, for example, if you saw a picture of people on a beach, that can take you back to when you were on a beach with your family, maybe it's in the sun, building a sandcastle, and those feelings and emotions come through to you there while you stood there. And all those type of things are important to me, just like they would be anybody else. Touching an object in a museum, you can get a physical feel for, whatever you're looking at. And that's why it's important to touch things in a museum as well as have them described. A painting or going into an art gallery, to me, it's, if I walked in by myself, a painting would be a square on a wall. Whereas this is where a description of that painting is necessary for a blind person. You've got to build the picture of that painting on a blank canvas in a blind person's mind, and then leave them to fill in certain bits and get a feel for it, which you do. You suddenly get a feel for it because it's in your head, it's in front of your eyes as such, and you start feeling that painting, you start understanding, you start getting a little snapshot, little picture of what's there, and that canvas suddenly becomes full.
Louise Fryer.
So why would a blind or partially sighted person want to come to a museum? Why would they want to listen to an audio description? Is audio description worth doing? How can you convey in words what an artist only wants to express through a non-verbal medium? I think what you can do is enjoy playing with words in a creative way. What audio description forces you to do is to look closely at something in a way that perhaps you haven't looked at it before, and then convey those impressions in as vivid and exciting a way as you can. And what that means is that the basics of description are very straightforward. Essentially, you state the obvious, you say what you can see. And the subtleties of description are what make it an engaging practice and means that it maybe takes a lifetime to master. Because you're always discovering something new, you're always finding a new way of saying something, and you're always meeting blind or partially sighted people who say, I loved it. Oh, I thought that was the best painting I've ever seen. And to have that kind of engagement from an audience who can't directly experience that for themselves, and to feel that you can help mediate that experience for them in a way that it makes them forget it's being mediated, that they feel the artwork and experience it directly for themselves, is very satisfying and rewarding.
Doreen Gibbons.
I think as a visually impaired person myself, I'm interested, I want to learn, I want to understand, I want to know what's going on in the world. I need to be a part of it. If art is communicating an idea, somebody's opinion, then Perhaps I like that opinion, perhaps I don't like that opinion. We want to comment on it, we're interested.
RNIB, supporting blind and partially sighted people.
Logos for Arts Council England, Punch Records, Imagineer Productions and Ironbridge Gorge Museum Trust. Logos for Arts Council England, Punch Records, Imagineer Productions and Ironbridge Gorge Museum Trust.